All right, hey, how you doing, Lee?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Doing great, man. So, first, I want to ask you, what inspired you to do music? Like, do you remember the first day when you said, you know what, I'm going to start playing the guitar, or you know what, I want to do music in my life? What inspired you to do music?
Well, that's a good question, man. I would say the first time that I was actually exposed to music in a way that allowed me to like pick up a guitar had been like watching Larry Graham on television. I remember years and years ago, Sinbad used to do this special, and it was always they did a lot of different artists, and the shows were always in Aruba or in the Bahamas. So he had artists from like Larry Graham, Grand Central Stations, The Temptations, you name it, Evelyn Champagne Kane, all the great people that you ever hear as far as old school artists.
Yeah.
And when I first saw Larry Graham, that kind of just blew my mind. The way it was just his stage presence and the way he held his guitar. At that time, I didn't know what a bass was, so I just assumed that it was a guitar. So from watching Larry Graham on stage, that kind of inspired me to pick up a guitar and just, you know, be inspired to play music.
Okay.
I had to have been no more than about 4 or 5 at the time.
Wow.
So I asked my parents, you know, could I get a guitar? So they said okay. So they gave me a guitar for Christmas. It was a nice electric guitar. It was really nice. I'm not sure what brand it was, but it was nice. So I played that for a while, and after maybe about 3 months or so, I kind of put the guitar away because I just wasn't feeling the guitar. So at that time, plus I kept breaking each string, so I just put the guitar aside for a little while, and had turned my interest to drums. So I asked my dad, instead of playing guitar, can I play drums? He said, okay. So he got me a drum set. So I played drums for about 8 to 10 years. Wow. Yeah. So I played drums. I was really good at it, you know. So my only regret is if I still played at drums, I could have been playing drums, you know, for church and stuff. But after a while, I just, you know, put the drums aside as well. So then the bass came along. So I said maybe I should play bass. So at that time, I knew that was my calling. Yeah. My calling instrument was bass guitar. And funny thing about it was, I had heard Motown, and I saw this DVD called "Standing in the Shadows of Motown," and it had introduced all the Funk Brothers, all the guys that were there during the Motown era, and they were responsible for the Motown sound. So it was until I heard about James Jamerson, who was actually he was actually the sound of Motown, because everything was driven by the bass. So it was about that time I wanted to play bass, and I was quite influenced by the way he had I guess delivered his technique and his sound, not only just for Motown but for other bass players as well. You know, so that's what kind of influenced me to play bass. Okay. It's because of James Jamerson, and of course there were other artists along the way. Yeah. And it wasn't until I was probably about 9 years old when I got my first bass. Wow. Yeah. So that's how I actually got started playing bass. Okay. Yeah. So who would you say like are your top 5 overall, like artists overall? It doesn't matter if they play the instrument, sing, like your top 5 of all time that really. It doesn't matter if they had an impact on you or not. They probably did, but like, who are your top 5 artists of all time and overall? Wow, there's just so many. I would say my top 5 would have to be James Jamerson is one of them. Can't forget Charles Mingus of jazz. Yeah, Stanley Clarke. There's 3 now, so we got 2 more. I would say my 2, more contemporary type of musicians would be Wayman Tisdale and Gerald Beasley, for his contemporary jazz works. Yeah. And it wasn't for like Charles Mingus, you know, because he was the main one. Of course, Stanley Clarke as well, years and years later, who actually brought the bass guitar to the forefront, because the bass was actually the foundation of most ensembles. So it wasn't really, the bass player wasn't really a lead player at the time. So it was because of Charles Mingus, and who influenced Stanley Clarke layers and layers until like the 70s, we had like the fusion and all the funk stuff that kind of brought bass guitar to the forefront. You know, and that kind of influenced me because if you can play bass, hey, you can just pretty much say
play
anything you want, because even if you don't even know a song, you can hum the bass line.
Yeah. Because
it doesn't matter if you know what song it is. If you can't sing it, you can always hum the bass line.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So yeah.
So do you like that about like artists that let me see, like Earth, Wind and Fire and James Brown, like how they always brought out the instrument? I mean, like, you know what I mean, like the bass players, the guitar players, they brought them out and they let them kind of shine throughout the music, like even throughout the concerts. You know what I mean? Like how they had long, I don't know what you particularly call it, then they have long runs and they're playing and stuff like that. It kind of like puts a shine on them. Do you like that about certain artists?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Especially for James Brown in particular, he wanted his all his musicians, he wanted them to be able to step out in the spotlight and express themselves. You know. But one thing about James Brown, if he on the one, you get fined.
Yeah.
That's the only thing with James Brown. He was very particular about being on the one.
Yeah.
But as far as being like having a good stage presence, being a dedicated musician, I believe that's what made James Brown the person that we all know him of today.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, a lot of artists kind of emulate him a little bit because not him personally, but his persona.
Yeah.
Because being in the music business, it's a tough industry.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially if you're a musician like I am, and you just gotta carry yourself accordingly.
Yeah.
You always gotta be on time, which is the main thing. Always be on time. Always make sure you're well groomed. You got your instrument. Make sure you take good care of it, because if you don't take care of it, it won't take care of you.
Oh wow.
But if you do take care of it, it will take care of you.
Shoot,
in a good run,
Yeah. So let's see. So looking forward to your future, or like in the present day, you like you said, you are in a band and stuff. Where do you see yourself in about a good 10 years? Or a good 10 years. Where do you see yourself?
Hopefully in a good 10 years, you probably see me on stage. I guess in a good 10 years, I definitely want to be doing something with music.
Yeah.
That's no doubt I could definitely see myself doing. But even if it doesn't quite work out, because everybody goes through a dry spell here and there, here or there. Especially if you're like starting out on your own. So it's always good to have a backup plan, in case plan A doesn't work out. You can always refer to plan B. So my plan as a musician, I want to be a professional musician, but sometimes, depending how in 10 years the industry may change, because everything's changing constantly with copyright laws. You got the technology now. Everything is changing constantly, and it can be very frustrating, to keep up with a lot of different innovations, especially with technology. But but I can definitely see myself becoming a musician, But I definitely, if I wasn't a musician, if I were to do something not too much like in the forefront, I could definitely see myself doing like radio or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is the fan base is it at least still strong today, or like is it kind of strong when it comes to like jazz, or like you just being a musician and you just want to play for your fans and stuff like that, like B.B. King and them used to do? Is it still a strong fan base there?
As far as like
it being kind of crowded and stuff like that, like it's not gonna be 2 or 3 seats in the building to hear some jazz music, is it?
Oh,
for the young kids.
Oh yeah. Well, from the young kids, there's been quite an increase in far as like younger generations, such as our generation and younger, who are being exposed to this type of music, which is a good thing, because this is part of history, especially American history.
Yeah.
And I think it's personally, it's good to be exposed to like this type of music, because like from back in the day, music compared to now, I feel that it's more commercialized than like more than being creative per se, because music nowadays it's good music, but a lot of it's now it's just a gimmick just to make money.
Exactly, yeah.
And a lot of the music from like 30, 40, some 50 years ago, it wasn't particularly based on money. It was basically based on the artist and how they reflected their personality and how they cultivated themselves in the music world. You know, you had artists like John Coltrane, Miles Davis, Dizzy Gillespie, Charles Mingus, Thelonious Monk. All them guys were just about making music. They weren't really into like making money and all that. Now, of course, they had their moments where they when you get successful, sometimes money can change you in such a drastic way that you kind of forget sometimes, what got you there before. But as far as like going back to like the younger generation nowadays is a good thing. Even with old school music, you see like go to a concert like the Temptations or the OJs, and you'll see quite a few young kids, younger than me or you or even our age. It's a good thing. But as far as like, and from a general perspective, it's very, I should say,
you can make good money doing it, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically. Yeah. I was trying to think of a good word for it, but I guess it's kind of prosperous. I should say.
Okay. Yeah.
Because a lot of the concerts I've been going to, it's always been sold out.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Exactly. Them blow in the winds like sand. 'Cause all of my deeds, you know them. Lord, don't remember who. Don't remember. Don't remember my sin.